Hi. Recently I was sitting talking with my radio rep in San Diego because Straight Nutrition just started a campaign that we're super excited about. And as we were sitting there, my radio rep Bardee said to me, "It's not okay." And I said, "What's not okay, Bardee?" She said, and she gave me this bracelet. "It's not okay that 2.2 million children are taken into the sex slave trade every year. It's not okay." And I felt like I need to do something about this. This is horrible. And I began reflecting on how can I do something for these girls. When I had to go back and get to work, and I realized we have a new form of slavery in America, and that's the healthcare crisis. It's not okay that 2 out of 3 people are overweight and obese. It's not okay that just the healthcare cost of obesity alone is $149 billion. $147 billion. That's not okay. And it's obviously not okay that these girls are enslaved. But in our industry, we have that new form of slavery that's also not okay. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we do, I want to tell you a little story. My mom was born in 1932. She was a single mom, raised 2 daughters. And she lived a life of slavery because she was obese. My mom tried every diet pill that there was available to fail miserably. Until in her 50s, she met a man who changed her life. Dr. Browse in Sunnyside, Oregon. And he did the testing. Hair, stool, urine, blood. He looked for the nutritional deficiencies and the toxicities, and he filled the nutritional deficiencies and brought down the toxicities so that mom's body could thrive in that perfect homeostasis that it was created to do. And every week my mom went in and she got adjusted by this man who laid hands on her and touched her in a non-sexual way by giving her an adjustment every single week. And over a period of 1 year, my mom lost 100 pounds. Dr. Bryce was her last best hope because she was enslaved. So we're going to talk about the 3 concepts of slavery today: fear, entrapment, and lack of vision. Where did all the fear come from? People are afraid of their bodies today. It's the opposite of the faith-based caring for your health that we practice at Straight Nutrition, is that fear-based healthcare. When did that change? Back in 1929, 3 years before my mom was born, there was a group of teachers who decided that they needed to do something more for their bodies than they could. And so they went to Baylor Hospital and they said, "We want to contract with you monthly." This became the model for Blue Cross Insurance, you see. And right back then in 1929, this is a real radical idea. Oh, what are you doing? Because they knew then that you needed to simply put the food in moderation into your body. You had to have the proper sleep, the proper water and exercise, and balance the food between the different nutrient groups. They didn't have all the sugars and all the chemicals in our foods back then. But even then, they wanted to give the responsibility of providing the right environment to somebody else. And in turn, what has occurred is that somebody else has created this fear-based system of threats. Not all the time. I don't want to harp on the MDs too much here. But let's just talk about that threat a little bit. Because when you're enslaved and somebody threatens you, it makes you afraid. Well, what should be happening is you have a red flag pop up. Red flag. You're trying to motivate me with fear, I'm going to stop right now. Because that kind of motivation is not okay for me. I'm going to stop in my tracks and I'm going to research and find out what's really going on here. And so that's what we want, is education when we get that red flag. And so I was sitting in a continuing education recently at Loma Linda University was the sponsoring school. And so there was a group of doctors, a couple hundred of us, and Dr. Mark Wyman was there up front, 4 different speaking docs. And he was one of them, and he was talking about functional medicine, which I call functional food, because the last 12 years straight nutrition has just been straightening out the food. See, it's not brain surgery, guys. It's just straight nutrition. And so behind me were these 3 residents, and one right beside me. 4 Loma Linda residents in their 4th year of their residency. We had a chance to talk. And during the break, they sat there and they went, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I have no idea how to implement that into my practice. See, for the last 12 years, not just 4, 12 years, these guys have been learning the systems and the protocols, and you CAs understand the CPT codes of the docs. So the next speaker came up, and he was the teaching doc at Loma Linda University, and he said, docs, get on the bus or get run over, because this is the way of the future. And he also said that only 27% of the medical schools in America teach a minimum recommended hours of nutritional science, and that is 25 hours. Is that a joke? How many hours of school do you have? 25. And that takes me to your education. You have an opportunity to do something different for these people. See, we're not just crystal danglers out here. We're working in nutritional sciences. And so you CAs, you can get your CCN or your CNC, Certified Clinical Nutritionist, Certified Nutritional Consultant. Get some nutritional sciences under your belt. And if I were a DC, I'd go and get that DC BCN, Doctor of Chiropractic Board Certified Nutritionist. It's better than that master's degree at Bridgeport in nutrition. Costs less too. So you have your education, and you can teach people about the nutrition in their bodies and how to provide that right environment. And the last thing in this fear is I want to talk about the opposite of fear, and that's fear-based healthcare. That's freedom care. When Mike and I first started Foley Chiropractic almost 23 years ago, we decided to fly to Phoenix, Arizona every single month for 5 years and learn from the best. And we learned from Fred and Sue Schofield. And Fred taught us about cash. Now, Foley Chiropractic is not a cash practice, but straight nutrition is. But better than that, in the practice, he said, keep your money. Keep your money, docs. That's what empowers you. And so we kept our money. We were self-insured. See, the greatest CEOs and some of the smartest CEOs in America today work with the Self-Insurance Alliance in America, and they know that they're going to save 10% overall cost without compromising quality of care for their employees by being self-insured. And by the way, Congress knows that too, docs. You're exempt from Obamacare if you're self-insured. And so we kept our money. And Mike and I had 3 kids. So let me just do some math. Family of 5, $1,000 a month. Is that fair? We know it's $1,362 as an average person in America today, because premiums have gone up 80%. But let's just go to $1,000 a month, so $12,000 a year, times 20 years. You know it's been 23 years. We saved a house, guys. Over $250,000 we saved by keeping our health premium. See, people are so afraid they're willing to give that money to somebody who's going to pay an insurance adjuster to not pay their claim, and somebody who's going to hire an actuary to calculate and set it so the house wins. I was a businesswoman before I met Mike, 16 years corporate America. I was a buyer and retail marketing manager of a radio station. And when I was a buyer, before I started buying, I took business statistics. How many of you out there have taken business statistics and quantitative analysis? Okay. In these classes, they teach probability. I loved probability. What is the risk of throwing that dice and it landing on a certain number? If you have 1 dice, 2 dice, 3 dice, what happens with these numbers? You see, they're all crunched in numbers. And so I went to the Society of Actuaries to find out a little bit more about these people. And we know they work in 2 industries, the health insurance industry and the slot machines. And the house is set to win. You know what the Society of Actuaries tell us? Right there on their website. Risk is opportunity. Whose opportunity is it? So we can't be fear-based because that keeps us entrapped. And that's the second thing about slavery, is entrapment. Now you see, these people are being threatened. They feel uneducated about their bodies. That's where you docs can help them. They're lacking in resources, and I am not talking about money here. And then, of course, with the finances. The girls have a trade now. They're selling the bracelets. I'm buying the bracelets and giving them away every time someone signs up for auto ship at Straight Nutrition, because I want to empower those girls. Now I want to tell you a little bit of story. Just one more. My cousin called me the other day and said, I'm gonna talk. And I said, good, so am I. And I'm watching TED Talks, he said. And so am I. And so we got excited, and he said, and they were talking about our cousins. And I said, well, who were they talking about? And he says, the Wright brothers. Isn't that cool? We're first cousins 5 times removed from the Wright brothers. And he said, but there was a man that nobody has heard of his name. Samuel Pierpont Langley. You see, Samuel Pierpont Langley had all the resources. He was Harvard educated. He had $50,000 grant from the Army. He had the wisest of mentors and minds surrounding him. Having a mentor is a resource. And he was followed around by the New York Times. He was going to make a plane fly. But Samuel Pierpont Langley quit when Orville and Wilbur made that plane fly. Nobody knows his name. You see, Orville and Wilbur owned a bicycle shop, and they had a resource inside of them that far outweighed all that money, that far outweighed all this dazzle and the media. They had a passion, and they had a why about it. My dad tells me that one of them always had to climb higher than the other in the tree. They were daredevils, but they were driven. And so we can put that passion and be that resource by being a mentor and helping people understand that they have a resource inside of them they need to tap into. That's that innate. And the last thing are the finances. Last thing on being entrapped is finances. If you don't have a financial way out, it is hard to be unstuck. Have you priced the cost of dialysis lately? See, you docs can do something about the finances for the people. We don't have to play that CPT code game that everybody's playing that's jacking up all those insurance prices so high that it's just absolutely ludicrous. You docs can allow people to pay toward your usual and customary fees by offering cash discounts. You know how to do it. Make yourself affordable for your patients so that you can actually help them live in their vitality, so they're not entrapped. The third thing about slavery is a lack of vision. These people are blind. My mom felt hopeless. She didn't know what else to do. She couldn't see a way out. She felt undervalued. When your pancreas is sick like that, you're feeling lacking in self-confidence. You can come alongside of these people, docs, and show them the way out. You can give them that third thing envision is an action plan that actually works. You illuminate the step right in front of them so they know where to put their foot. You pour your effort into them. You be their last best hope. At Straight Nutrition, we say vitality is created by nutrients, not drugs. We do the testing, we take the guesswork away. You'd be surprised how good people feel. They don't even know how bad they feel until they feel good again. Remember, Mom, somebody decided that Mom didn't need to spend that money, that little bit of money that it took for her to go get adjusted. And so she stopped going to that chiropractor. And she ping-ponged with her weight, which is the worst thing for your heart, you know. So one day Mom went to the library to see her friend and get a book. She was tired, so she says, I'm going to go home. And so the librarian said, I'm going to walk you out, my friend. And as she walked out to her car, she tripped and hurt her knee. And her friend helped pick her up, put her in her car, sent her home. She lay down and she took a nap after reading that book. Laid it on her chest, and she breathed her last breath. August 1st of 1990. My mom was 58 years old. It's not okay with me that she lost 20 to 30 years of her life. It's not okay with me that Mom never met my husband. She never met my kids. She thought I was a businesswoman. She didn't know that I became a naturopath and a nutritional consultant. And I'm now helping people get out of the problem and the trap that she was in. That is my life purpose now. It's not okay with me that these girls are enslaved. But you can do something about it. You can be involved in She Rescue like Straight Nutrition is. You can do something about it in your business, in your practice. And you can help these patients because, docs, you are their last best hope. It's not okay that we have the healthcare crisis that we're in, but we do, and here we are. And you can do something about it, so let's go out and help these people make a difference in their life. Thank you.